Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
A abrupt emergency. We are wrestling.
Been a fan of AEW since day one.
Did you ever think that we'd be, talking about a topic like this?
We are Wrestling Extras.
What is up? We are wrestling maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. It has been here 1/3 of We Are Wrestling podcast, and today we got a special show for you guys. So you guys liked our Cody Rhodes documentary review, and we're here to do another one, and this one is on Angle, streaming exclusively right on Peacock. You guys should check that out before getting into this deep dive discussion. But before we get into all that, Don, take it away.
That's right, and a lot of you really enjoyed the Cody Rhodes documentary, which WWE, man, this year, they have stepped up their game when it comes to documentaries, and we had a really good time doing the Cody Rhodes review, so we figured we'd give you guys the Kurt Angle documentary review. But before you listen to this, we highly recommend watching the documentary first, because there is going to be spoilers. We are going to be diving deep into Kurt Angle's career, going from the Olympics to, becoming a WWE Hall of Famer, the struggles, all the good stuff. But before we dive into that, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review. Not just a 5-star review, but a best one review, and download the episode. But if you're watching this over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know, the grind is real.
Yeah, boy.
And we also want to mention as well, new episodes of the We Are Wrestling podcast come out every Saturday. If you're listening to this anywhere you get your podcast, or if you're watching it on YouTube, it's available on Saturdays, and we talk about the wrestling news. But with that being said, let's dive into Kurt Angle's documentary.
Let's do it.
So, to start this off, what were your thoughts overall on this documentary?
So, I mean, I know that we're doing this for the camera, but, right away, I think it was 20 minutes into the documentary, I was like, dude, this is fucking nuts. It was a very, very enjoyable documentary all around. Really, really thorough. They covered quite a bit, and they kept it respectful. How some documentaries, they pull punches. For example, I hate to name drop this because it's true. Every documentary or anything you see on Jeff Hardy is just fucking cruel. It feels like almost it feels almost so fucking cruel. So to see,
episodes of Dark Side of the Ring as well.
Exactly, but still, even in documentaries, they go fucking in deep and some crazy fucking shit. I mean, yeah, they obviously sign on to agree to it, because they feel like they, you need to see that side and how hard it was, but they kept it classy for this one. They kept it really classy. They kept it really respectful for, those a little bit more interpersonal things. But overall, man, really, really thorough, really well thought out. It was structured beautifully. We got to see some humanity. We got to get a little bit of knowledge, of his, his personal family, his very early start going into the Olympics and all that shit. And, seeing how hard he trained and how many injuries he sustained and what he really went through to get to that point. And even through that point,
Can I just say something?
What up?
4 broken necks in 2 fucking years.
Yeah, dude. It was fucking nuts. And then to get almost for example, Stone Cold said this, a patch job for his to give it some longevity. That's fucking nuts. It was a great documentary, and it's super insightful, and it gives you really more profound, respect for the superstar that it's about. And I'm so glad it's Kurt Angle, because if you guys don't know already, we were part of the Wrestling Classic 3, and Kurt Angle was actually our next door neighbor, maybe 10 feet away from us the entire fucking time, and really personable dude. And I'm really, really happy that we got that opportunity, because he was really, really nice, and he just treated us like anybody else. And that's an Olympic gold medalist, man. So that's fucking huge. So
And he won
I'm
it with
super
a broken freaking neck.
fucking neck. Exactly. So, and it's true. It's damn true. But yeah, I just wanted to express my excitement about it. But what were your thoughts, man?
That's the thing, too. Like, I do want to, talk about the Wrestling Classic 3 as well, because Kurt Angle was the headliner of this, event, which, by the way, to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs, wondering, what the hell is the Wrestling Classic? Well, this was, We Are Wrestling's first time being a vendor at a wrestling, convention. And, we got the opportunity to sell new t-shirts and meet new fans, even got to meet, some of, you We Are Wrestling Maniacs. And we even got to, our table was right next to Kurt Angle. So we got to really talk to him for a while. And he was just such a nice guy. And a lot of big stars, in the business, like Hollywood or
DDP.
pro wrestling,
Oh,
they
I thought
don't
we were talking about who
have
was
to
there.
talk to you if they don't want to. But,
Yeah.
Kurt Angle really, was just so kind, so nice. And he even gave, We Are Wrestling a shout out as well, which, really meant a lot to, you, myself, and, Danny.
That's dude, like I know we're gonna cover it, but like there were so many fucking huge highlights that I almost like, and this is gonna sound awful, but I almost forgot about that. It like reshed light on some of the best rivalries, some of the best
something,
moments that he had.
you
And
know
I'm like,
something, man,
damn.
I got to agree with you on that.
Yeah,
because
dude.
Kurt Angle's run in WWE was very short.
It
Surprisingly,
was.
because he had a longer wrestling career in Impact Wrestling than he did in WWE.
That's
which is
true,
wild.
but I feel like he had his best moments in WWE. Like I
Oh,
feel like he had
obviously.
his best moments.
No
However,
doubt.
TNA Kurt Angle, for whatever reason, was built different. However, some of his more historic matches and some of his best feuds, his
It's
fucking
always WWE,
his comedy
man.
angles, man, were all WWE. And I'm so glad that we got the privilege of really having that opportunity to have a booth right next to him, be able to like overhear stories he's telling about, and just being surrounded by all these fucking legends, man. And it was
Even
such
sharing
a cool
stories
experience.
with us as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, dude. Like he's such. I'm really excited to talk about it. I'm really excited.
I am too, man. But, my thoughts overall on this documentary, I was very impressed. Just like the Cody Rhodes one, I was very impressed. And at first, like, while I was watching this, I thought that they were just going to be covering, like, his amateur wrestling, because they really dive deep into that in the beginning of the, documentary. And it, like, went on for so long that I thought, there's no way, like, this is gonna, like, this whole thing's probably gonna be an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, it's funny because I watched it this morning and I saw that it was like an hour 47. I was like, God damn! Like, well, like what
No,
are they
but, like,
fucking showing?
watching,
Are they
like,
going,
the
in-depth?
amateur wrestling chapter in this documentary,
That for me
it
was
felt,
the
it felt
most.
so long, but I loved
Dude,
it.
no, it didn't feel long at all. Like I felt like it wasn't fucking long enough, dude. I was so fucking invested in that specific chapter. Like I was soaking in all of it, and it's like, my God, dude, the dude really was. You could see even just his maturity level in terms of like his interviews, his thought process, his speaking ability. Like he was a really like quiet dude, but you could tell that the dude was super obedient because he really was somebody who approached it at a professional level, put his ego at the door, and he's an Olympic gold medalist, so that's no small feat whatsoever. That's like fucking historical, obviously. But for him to go in ego free and just the open willingness to learn, to take whatever is given to him and rock it. A lot of these legends that we're talking about him, and even just his personal family, they are fucking right, dude. The dude was a workhorse and a team player and really fucking earned everything that he got and has become one of the greatest all time because of it. And you got to really see those behind the scenes insight chapters. And even fucking, it was what, Stone Cold that brought up the scene where he's like, yeah, I was in an airport and I saw this really small fucking hat and I thought Angle would look fucking hilarious in it because he was like this huge ass neck. And then the next
Dude, the
fucking week,
segments with them in the Attitude Era were
his hat.
so good.
Oh my
So
God,
good.
he's like, you're gonna do what to me?
But that's the thing.
Oh my God.
Overall, with this documentary, I think that they did a great job. They did a great job, structuring it. I really
Yeah.
liked how they really dove deep into, his whole wrestling background. And for like the casual that, is just a pro wrestling fan that, doesn't really know much about amateur wrestling, you really got to learn how it works. And I
No,
think
you
that he
really
did a
did.
great job explaining it. And I think that this is Kurt Angle, man. This is the
It
reason
really
why,
is.
he is so loved in, the wrestling community. There's a reason why he's a first class Hall of Famer. It's
Yeah,
because it
man.
goes all the way back to that gold medal and him, being an athlete.
Dude, I'm saying, dude, Kurt Angle is just a different kind of fucking animal. And like I said, with this documentary, we really got to shed some light on that and get to see a lot of things that we didn't know. Like, dude, another fucking thing about the documentary was his story with Dave Schultz and everything. Like, that was a huge,
Wow.
like, impact. And it really got you so invested, and like it almost got me almost like borderline emotional when he did eventually obviously win the gold medal, and he was talking about Dave Schultz and his dad, and
Dude, when he
I
put the
you
medal on
just
his mother, man, that almost made me cry.
oh yeah, dude, I fucking my god, man, I was
Beautiful.
just the whole documentary was just moving.
And I think what made this documentary so fantastic was all the clips that they had through the years. Like, even like with, his addiction, which we're going to dive into obviously because it's a part of, his story. Like, they even had pictures of, him, drinking and stuff as well. And like, it wasn't
Yeah.
like they were hiding anything. There was no
No, but they
filter
kept it
involved.
respectful,
But
and
they
that's
also
something that I
kept it
loved.
very respectful, which I really like.
And that's A1. That's A1 on whoever directed this documentary. Like they wanted to, shed some light obviously on his hardships and everything and his redemption. But again, and I've repeated this a million times since we've aired it, they kept it really respectful. And I'm really, really happy about that.
Absolutely. But now, what we're going to do, just like we did with the Cody Rhodes documentary, we're going to dive into it chapter by chapter and,
Let's go.
really give our thoughts and, talk about it. So,
Let's
with
go.
that being said, every documentary starts off with, the
The
early
beginning.
life, Kurt Angle growing up. What was your thoughts on that chapter in this documentary?
Like I said, like I said, this documentary was very thorough. Like, we got all the way down to, his birth, and what his family was, kind of surrounded by, which was just sports, and everybody was into it. We got a little bit of insight about his mom, who was super supportive of him, and then you got his dad, who was also very supportive of him, and also knew that there was something very special about him very early on.
Tough
So
love.
he would, yeah, like tough love, but I think he realized that there was something special about him, obviously, and wanted to see how far they could go with it. And for whatever reason, Kurt just, I think he knew too, because he just went with the punches and he rolled with the punches and he fucking did it. And that was amazing to me. He got him up for training, I think at what, 4 or 5 in the morning every day, and got him like doing some shit, doing his rounds and everything just to get him molded. And then he's like, all right, you're going into wrestling. All right, because he was influenced. He wanted football above everything first or something like that. And
Yep,
then,
football was
all
his
of them.
first passion.
Yeah, not even wrestling. And I guess he did, what, did he try out for wrestling at some point? And
So he
with
tried
his
out
coach
for it, and his coach in high school,
was like,
he
you're one
saw
of the
a
best
lot
that
of
he's seen in
potential in
20
him,
years.
and he said, I haven't had a wrestler like you, like within the past 20 years of being a wrestling coach.
Yeah,
And
he's
that's
like, you're
what,
going to be a state
he
champion.
became Kurt Angle's, project, and then Kurt Angle became a state champion, and then, competed in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm. And that's like,
But there is
and to
something I do
see
want to
all
say
of
about
that,
his dad as well.
yeah,
One thing I noticed through this documentary was it seemed like that's where Kurt Angle got that work ethic from
yeah.
his dad. And like being like surrounded by, a bunch of, older brothers as well.
yeah,
So
man.
like I see like where Kurt Angle has that, never give up mentality.
No, for sure. And just seeing those chapters, through his high school career, going and being the fucking state champion to being the fucking international champion, and then all of a sudden working himself up to the Olympics, and just seeing all of those trials and tribulations going into that, and breaking his fucking neck like right before he entered the semifinals, right, to get to the fucking to become the Olympic opener. And fucking it just, that is nuts, bro. Like, he broke his fucking neck, and I'm like, he's like, oh, my arm went numb, and you could see it like kind of just like stuck, and then fucking he somehow pulled it off. He fucking did it, and I'm just like, dude, you have to be built fucking different for that shit. Like, how are you walking around doing anything? Like, dude, if my neck got broken, how are you fucking standing? He's such a beast, man.
Kurt Angle is a monster. But
My
I gotta
God.
say too,
It was
one of
just
the
great.
things that I found like kind of wild in this, and I never knew this about Kurt. So many fucking siblings, bro. I
Yeah,
couldn't
dude.
stop
They're all boys
laughing.
except for
Like you
one
had
sister.
John, you had Eric, you had so many of them. It like reminded me of that episode of like SpongeBob with like Plankton and like all of his like family members. Dude, Kurt
Oh my
Angle, I
God,
never
dude.
thought that Angle had, one sister and like four brothers,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't know
Never
either,
knew
man.
that.
I had no idea. And
That
like I said,
really caught me by surprise. And like I'm seeing like the brothers in like these interviews, and I'm sitting there. How
I'm like, damn,
many
boy, how many
siblings does
brothers you
Kurt
got?
have?
I'm like, damn, boy, how many fucking. Yeah, dude. I noticed that too. I'm like, I didn't even know Kurt Angle had siblings. He had all
Maybe
five.
like one or like two siblings, but like he
You
had
can
like
kind of
4 or
guess that
5
from
of them.
anybody, but still, like, damn, bro. Like, I had no fucking idea. But yeah, it was so insightful, and I think that's something I really enjoy about it is because for whatever reason, I find to know about celebrities and like, well, not really, well, okay, celebrities too, but even like my professional wrestler stars that I admire, I love knowing the background, what drives them, what ails them, like, what their goals are, what their achievements are, because realistically, at the end of the day, I forgot who had said it, but WWE superstars are like living, breathing superheroes in a way, So it's
They
almost
are.
like being a fan of comic books. It's something that's just fucking epic, and yeah, and I love it. I love it, man. It was just a really, really insightful thing, and I think that's why I was so drawn to it and so compelled by everything that was being told. Like, I love documentaries, man. I fucking absolutely love them. And WWE, like like you said in the beginning of the show, they're pulling no punches for this fucking. They're going all in for these documentaries, and it's so fucking good. It's so damn good.
It's true.
It's damn true.
But that's something I do gotta say as well. Like, just seeing Kurt's, work ethic to me, like, that's like the biggest thing that really, fascinated me with, this documentary. In a way, it motivated me because I know, like, in the beginning, like, talking about his early life, he lost his dad, in high school because of, an incident that happened,
The
on,
accident,
his,
yeah, on
on
the
the
work job.
construction site. And Kurt Angle, played that football game the week that, his dad passed away.
That dude was stricken by so much fucking tragedy, it almost broke my goddamn heart. Like, yeah, the week his dad passed away, had to go to fucking school and do all that shit, and then his sister passed away, which we're gonna get into the day before he had to face Brock Lesnar in a 1 hour Iron Man match, rather. So that's fucking nuts. That dude has had to do so fucking much, and the fact that he was in that Iron Man match, not really, like, you couldn't really see it phase him, but you knew that that was what he was trying to do. Like, he was just trying to forget it for an hour, because it's just, yeah, we'll get into that, but this dude went through fucking a lot, man, and lost so many people. And dude, holy shit.
And something I gotta say too about that, because I've lost a lot of, very close people in my life, and
Yeah.
I know exactly how that feels. And like, I see why Kurt Angle did that because, he was trying to get his mind, like you were saying about, his sister. Going in that ring against Brock Lesnar for 1 hour, he was able to get his mind off of his sister for 1 hour. Going on
Mhm.
that football field, playing 4 quarters and having one of the best games in his high school career, he was able to get his mind off his dad. So, I understand that as well because, I lost my mom going into high school, lost,
Mhm.
my older brother about a year later to addiction. So,
Mhm.
like, I know, how that feels. And I even lost, my grandfather a week before I graduated high school. So,
Yeah, man.
like, I know
It's
how it feels. And honestly, man, Kurt Angle, he's one strong, he's one strong guy.
No, I
Seriously.
get it, man. I can empathize and sympathize 100%. And again, what you find relatable you can be so drawn to it. And I think that's another reason, again, why I love this documentary. I love it when people get real for a second, and it gives you really something to cling on to, and it makes you really admire them more for what they've also, you know, persevered through. So I think that's another reason why this documentary was so good.
So now let's dive into his amateur wrestling career. Because, of course, Kurt Angle, he competed, in amateur wrestling in high school.
Mhm.
Then, went off after, high school to, compete in college. And then, after college, he decided to, compete in the Olympics.
Mhm.
And eventually, won a gold medal in 1996 with a broken freaking neck.
Yeah, man.
So what were your
So,
thoughts overall on the amateur wrestling chapter in this?
oh, it was dope. It was super fucking dope. And like I said, you know, I love seeing where people come from, and I also love seeing the process, you know, and seeing how Kurt Angle was built, who he was built by. Number one, Dave Schultz. That was one of his biggest influences, and maybe even to this day, still
And I
one of
think
his
they did a
biggest
great
influences.
job covering Dave.
I feel like if it wasn't absolutely, you know, rest his soul, you know, everything to his family. I really think that that's who created Kurt Angle. I feel like that is the man that if there's anybody to thank for Kurt Angle, it's Dave Schultz, because he really believed in him. He was, and like even Kurt said it in the documentary, you know, if there's a greatest, you know, wrestler of all time, it's Dave Schultz. The dude was great at everything. He was knowledgeable. He learned 7 languages just to get the worldwide universal aspect of the art of wrestling. And I loved and admired that. And the fact that he learned from him and was trained by him is fucking incredible. And there's not a lot of people that can say that now, because again, Dave was unfortunately and untimely murdered back in 1996. So it's really, really great to see those aspects and to see that kind of angle with Kurt Angle, rather, and seeing how that molded his career and his style and, you know, his influence and his drive, you know.
His wife, man, Dave's wife, I think,
Trooper.
her, coming on to this documentary, I think was a great, touch as well. Because you could tell, like, she, admires Kurt Angle for
There is
still,
love there.
holding on to Dave's
Absolutely.
legacy. And that was beautiful to see.
Dude, I love any human being that really holds the legacy of somebody that they admired so dearly and keeps it alive. And you could tell that there was genuine, sincere, and unconditional love with Dave's wife, because even to this day still keeps it alive, you know. He has everything
Yeah, with
that he
her,
has
with the
with the
whole,
influence of Dave.
Dave, I think it was like
The
she created her own
Dave
like
Club.
wrestling. Yep, her own like wrestling club, and Kurt Angle, was the first one to be a part of it, which was
Absolutely,
really
in
cool.
Dave's honor. And you know, like, that was a no-brainer for Kurt, and I think that also speaks, you know, into his character and who he really is. And I think that is what's going to be easy to remember him by. And, you know, in his terms of what he wants, you know, he wants to be remembered of what he accomplished in his life, and rather than the dark areas. And I think that he's done so much to, nobody's going to give a fuck about those eras anymore. Nobody's going to give a fuck.
Exactly.
You know, he didn't
And to,
damage
be
himself.
the very best as well.
At fucking, dude, he is one of the best technical wrestlers of all time. Period. And if you say different, you're wrong.
Yeah, my biggest hot take, man.
Oh, Jesus.
And, there's a lot of great professional wrestlers through the years, but in my top 5, Kurt Angle's in there.
Oh, absolutely. He has to be, especially if you're, you know, the dude is the king of submission. The dude
And I
really
don't
is.
understand how Dave Meltzer never gave this man a 5-star match. That to
Bullshit.
me is bullshit.
Hey, careful before you fucking piss off Danny. That's his hero.
But I gotta say too, with like the amateur wrestling, I really liked, how they broke it down. I think that they did a great job, for somebody that
Absolutely.
doesn't know amateur wrestling. And honestly, I think, even having some cameos from, people that he's wrestled as well.
Yeah.
And, some of his coaches, I really enjoyed that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, it was really cool seeing, like, you know, the big opponents that he faced that were like the trial and tribulations.
Dude, they were
and,
like
the
triple
final
his
matches.
size.
Yeah, dude, and he fucking a 7-footer.
Because one thing I noticed from like high school wrestling, because some of my friends, they, did amateur wrestling in high school. Usually you get matched up with somebody that's like around the same, weight as you. But Kurt Angle, man, he was going against people that were like 30 pounds bigger than him.
Oh God.
And
That's
he was flipping
another
him
thing.
over like a fucking Krabby
And
Patty.
So, So I gotta say though, with Kurt Angle, the fact that he was flopping these dudes, big as fuck, compared to him, that also stood out. And with WWE, the dude's fucking putting on matches with Big Show. He's fucking
Brock Lesnar.
Oh my God, don't get me started because Brock is a lot to do with why this is happening. So, but I will say 100%, dude, it was phenomenal. Like, it was just so good seeing that, like, huge arc where he's really going in on the amateur wrestling. And then you got all of these guys, like you said, coming in, talking about everything that was going through their minds as well at the time. So it's you got to see that other perspective from a lot of these other people. Like that other dude. Oh fuck, I don't even know what his name was. I think it was for the state championship when he was in like senior year or something like that. And he was
I don't know, man.
last
There's
minute.
way too many names to remember.
That's what I'm saying. But like the fact that we got that is great.
We'll call him Big Dude.
Big dude. Yeah, big fucking dude. He was having him there really did make it a lot better to understand, both sides because they thought, it was going to go one way, but Kurt fucking took it, and I think that was that before he broke his neck? I think it was before he broke his neck. He was still on the rise, and I think he was getting ready to do Olympics or something like that.
Yeah, because it was, I think, his college run. I think
college,
where he
yes.
broke his neck.
Yes, I think it was that. But yeah,
because I also like too how they showed, the struggles as well. Because once he broke his neck, he kind of lost that mojo for a little bit. Like he had trouble, like feeling, from his like spine with, his left arm.
Going to the chiropractor, getting his neck cracked out even more. Like Jesus Christ, you're gonna paralyze this fucking dude. Like that, so that was scary to hear about. Like,
and I will say, man, it surprised me a lot too. Like seeing like how long he had a wrestling career, despite the neck injuries and like especially he was going through this stuff before he stepped foot inside the wrestling ring.
Dude, what I really also loved is not very often do you get like close up clear ass footage of a specific moment when something happens. Like seeing his neck break for the first time was almost hard to watch. I was like, I saw it hit and I was like, oh, and then during the replay I kind of like winced. I'm like, fuck. And like the fact that he like even during that match with Brock Lesnar when at No Mercy when he snapped his neck and he had like the whiplash, he broke his neck again.
Eddie Guerrero.
Fuck, dude. Like I felt for that dude. I'm like, how the hell are you still even standing right now? And how the hell did you walk to your own seat next to me fucking 26 years later? Not 26 years later, fucking 20 years later. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Absolutely.
It's nuts, man. This documentary really showed so much that apparently I was completely unaware of.
I know, man. And that's the thing, like, with, his whole, amateur wrestling background, like, I really enjoyed the younger clips of him, with those interviews, like, talking, to, like, the reporter about, his upcoming, wrestling match and, like, why he's doing this and stuff. I think the footage, having all of that, in this really added so much more to this, documentary.
And it's not very often that you got like a lot of the early moments still filmed, and like that's
exactly a lot of the times, man, they have to use pictures, or they have to have a family member talk about it.
He's lucky, especially in the fact that state championship, international wrestling, it's always fucking filmed. It's always documented. And that really also helped with the depth. And, we really got to see it broken down in every chapter of him actually training, him actually
and especially
talking,
the brackets, for the big tournaments that he was in. I think they did a good job with that too.
Yeah, and it's showing like how like it would show a person's name or a title and then it would like disappear and then it would say angle. And I'm like, dude, fuck yeah, that's fucking awesome. Like I was almost reliving it in like real time. I'm like cheering him on. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. I'm like, wait, this happened like 26 years ago. What the fuck am I doing? I'm like,
nah,
fuck
man,
yeah,
like when it comes to like and also when it comes to the training, bro. Like
oh my
his
God.
Training schedule, like having that entire calendar with, his training schedule, which I can't believe they actually had a picture of that. That is absolutely wild to see.
Yeah.
And then, like really like he wanted it. And that's the thing, like seeing him, that iconic picture of like, the United States flag and him, tears of joy when he won, his first ever gold medal like, especially having the build, showing his whole amateur, background, it really made you feel something for the guy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we both know this because we're both, content creators. Hard work pays off when you put in the work. And Kurt Angle, man, he put
that dude
more
is the definition of the work
into it, man. And it's wild too, because like he would do like the workouts where like he would, work until, he pretty much was like on the floor passed out.
Yeah, like till like 1 a.m. He'd fucking be up at 4 a.m. and then be in the gym still lifting weights until like 1 a.m.
Dude,
that's fucking nuts, dude.
And there's nobody out there that's got that work ethic like Kurt. And honestly, probably the reason why I think he's one of the greatest in the ring, because he brings that intensity. And I think a lot of wrestlers, they lack that.
Yeah.
That intensity. Like Kurt Angle, man, there's a reason why. Angle versus Michaels at WrestleMania 21 will always be my favorite pro wrestling match of all time.
And they were fucking building that shit since like the Royal Rumble or a little bit before too in 05.
It was
like
the
they
Rumble.
they started
because
like
I believe
they had a match and then
Shawn was on Raw.
Kurt.
Angle was on SmackDown at that time.
Yep.
So it was one of those Raw versus SmackDown matches.
Yep. And then Angle lost and then went to the Rumble. Shawn eliminated him. And then Kurt Angle through a conniption, dragged him out and fucking beat the shit out of him with the steel steps and then gave him a fucking ankle
And then we
lock.
got the whole sexy Kurt segment.
I'm just a sexy Kurt. I'll make your ankle hurt.
No,
I fucking remember
that's
that
the thing
shit.
about Kurt Angle, man. Like the intensity that he brings into that ring is so different.
And dude, who knew the fucking dude can entertain a crowd? This dude was literally a fucking Olympic gold medalist, and who knew that this dude can move a fucking crowd and make them laugh their fucking ass off the way Kurt Angle could,
I will say
dude.
this though, because now, we do got to dive into, his WWE run. And one thing I do have to critique, man, I know Stone Cold and The Rock, which I love their cameo appearances in this, with their interviews and stuff.
Which is fucking awesome.
I wish that we did, dive more deep into Kurt Angle's, personality, because, he is, more than just, a great, pro wrestler, technician, amateur wrestler. He was very entertaining as well. And I kind of wish we kind of got we kind of dove deep into that a little bit too.
Hell yeah, man. So are we moving over to his WWE run now?
Yes, we are.
All right. Fuck yeah, guys. Welcome to the WWE section. This is where it's going to get juicy. So I definitely agree with you there when it comes to, really highlighting his personality and, what made that. Was there any inspirations behind that? Did something fucking hilarious happen and he decided to use inspiration in one of his fucking gimmicks?
No, the big thing is, was he more outgoing in high school? Stuff like that. What got him to have that personality? Because the documentary, they highlighted, more of his amateur wrestling and seriousness, but they didn't really dive too much into the comedy side of it.
So I think one of the reasons, and obviously they didn't really go into how he got as charismatic as he fucking did, because I feel like that just happened. I feel like what drove that is, one, he won a fucking gold medal with a broken fucking neck. At this point, he'll do fucking anything because he's just kind of existing and doesn't know what's next. So he's just you know what? Let's fucking be the best at this too. So at first he didn't want to go to WWE because, he's a professional Olympic athlete.
Hold on. I figured it out. He got inspiration to do the comedy stuff from Stone Cold. I remember.
Oh, well, yes, that too. But
I remember that now in the documentary.
I feel like a lot of it's also based on, where he was at success-wise. So he already did what he had to accomplish. But at first, he didn't even want to be a WWE superstar because, he was like, I'm a professional X, Y, and Z.
I couldn't believe they had that interview, bro.
And
That's
he even
crazy.
said, in the Olympics, you got to work hard. You don't get a lot of money, X, Y, and Z. And then fucking he's over here. He's like, damn. And he's watching these people who he's drawn to. And he said Stone Cold. And then he's like, why am I so bitter about all these people making this money? Maybe I should try it out. And then he fucking fell in love with it. He's like, dude, I'm really fucking good at this. And he's fucking
he got
great.
to wrestle and entertain millions of people.
Yeah, he got to stay somewhat safe for a long fucking time until 2003. Dude, the dude debuted in what, 97 or 98?
His first, I know he started training, I believe, in 98, but his
Oh,
first
okay.
match was, I believe, Survivor Series 1999.
Well,
And
there
then
you
he,
go.
took the microphone when, Vince told the referee to tell,
You don't
Kurt.
boo a fucking Olympic athlete. You don't boo an
That's
Olympic
where Kurt
athlete.
Angle's personality began, right
And then he
there.
realized right there, he's like, wait, they're booing me even louder. Like, I got a reaction. And like but the thing is,
And then the whole
when I-
gold medal thing, man, like he would like throw it in the fan's face, which was great.
dude, I loved it. And like what was so unique about Kurt Angle and what makes him so unique and stand out from the others is he's never really ever had a gimmick change, but he's just had moods during certain feuds. Like he's always had the funny shit, but in like '06 and shit, he was just aggressive. He was like an aggressive Kurt Angle. And like for a while I felt like that's what Kurt was missing. But honestly, his fucking comedy runs were the best, bro. Like fucking what was it, Edge that started the You Suck movement?
It was Edge because he, cut his hair and then, he did like the whole sign thing that like pointed at Angle.
Yeah, he's like, he fucking You Suck or some shit like that. And he started that whole fucking movement on Kurt. And it was fucking great, man. Like Kurt could do anything, but he never had a gimmick change. It was just mood shifts. And I love that because a superstar gets stale if you stay the same. Kurt never really had to change. And I
It was
love
smart
that
what
about
he
him.
did with his career because he would tweak it. Like if
Yes.
fans were behind him, he would turn, babyface. And like the segment that happened with, the milk truck. He, sprayed the whole WCW and ECW invasion.
This is the fucking Stone Cold movie where he's fucking chugging out the milk. Oh my god,
Which I
dude.
do have that figure too, which is so cool.
Hell fucking yeah, man. Dude, Kurt has had one of the best and the most prolific careers in WWE history. Or in general, man, as a sports
But then like at
entertainer.
times, like when he had to
athlete.
be serious, he would.
06 is a perfect example when he was world
Yeah, but
heavyweight
06,
champion.
man, he was going through a lot of shit.
He
which
was.
We're going to be diving into that pretty soon.
He was, but he was at his most aggressive. And I feel like that added to his career. I'm not saying the way it happened was great. I'm not saying what he was going through was great because it wasn't.
But it was different.
It was different, and he was like one of the greatest heels, honestly, in that era. And I think that benefited him, but we'll get there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, they did a really good job highlighting the Attitude Era. I think The Rock and Stone Cold being there, I think that was perfect.
That
Because,
elevated
of course,
the whole fucking
The Rock
thing.
and Stone Cold were, two of the biggest stars in that era. And they got to watch Kurt Angle, become this, WWE superstar.
They put him the fuck over. Heavy. They put because Stone Cold and The Rock during the Attitude Era and towards the end of their runs in WWE as full timers and part timers, they fucking elevated the fuck out of Kurt, man. And because of those two superstars, Kurt would also not be at the level where he is in WWE history and pro wrestling history hadn't they not been there. But it was fucking gold anytime he was on screen with either of them. So to have them a part of their interviews and a part of this documentary in real time talking about Kurt's legacy is fucking awesome, and that just added so many layers of depth.
So I will say this, speaking of interviews, on, my list here, there are, some people I wish that we had interviews
Like you
from.
even got Flair.
Flair, that was really cool. But
Yeah.
here's some of the people I would have, preferred having them, in this documentary. I think
Yeah.
it would have been cool to see, Shelton Benjamin, because of course, he traveled the road with, Kurt
Charlie
Angle,
Haas.
a part of, Team Angle. Yep. Charlie Haas as well. I think, John Cena, somebody that, he was,
absolutely.
rivals with during, Ruthless Aggression. Because
Randy Orton.
remember, John Cena, man, his debut was against Kurt Angle, and, we got that famous line.
Ruthless aggression.
And, Randy Orton as well, because Randy and Kurt, they had a great feud, but they also, grew.
Shawn Michaels.
They really fell in love, in the business, and they became boys.
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, he's another one.
Taker.
But one of them that I wish we really got into, and this
Brock
is
Lesnar.
where, we kind of get into Brock, that
That
I wasn't
would have
even
been
thinking that.
like apologize for
wow.
breaking his fucking neck, you piece of shit.
I don't think Brock meant to, though.
Obviously, he didn't. He was a young fucking kid, and he was getting a lot of pressure because he was a big dude, and he was on Vince's yes list, So it was a
And
lot of
remind you,
pressure.
too, like, at the time, like, he was getting, like, he didn't like being on the road consistently because at that
No.
time, Brock was a full-time, competitor. He was wrestling on, the pay-per-views, SmackDown, and even the live events.
Who gives a fuck, bitch? You signed up for it. And if you want that money, you're going to be doing it. So, like, that's something I've always fucking hated about Brock. And I know it's not Brock's show, but if Brock had just learned from Kurt Angle, he would be a lot more respected. So I just had to get that off my chest.
But man, also too, I wish that we had Vince McMahon in this documentary because we've heard, No, here's why. Because we've heard interviews throughout the years of Kurt Angle and Vince, having a very close relationship that's more than just the WWE. And, they both have highly praised each other. And like they even, got into it a little bit, why he left WWE. And Vince McMahon, they showed the clip, with, I believe, Todd Grisham at the time on,
oh my God, Todd Grisham. I forgot that dude fucking existed
show.
until I saw him. Yeah.
And, they showed the clip about, Vince, he could have went on there and buried Kurt Angle.
No, he didn't. He just showed concern.
He
I
was
like,
a true
Vince?
professional.
Wow.
And, he was saying how, like Kurt, he's got some health issues, and I really hope that, he can get himself situated.
No, 100%. And that's
So that's
something
why I
I
kind of
really
wish like we heard from Vince. But
See,
I'm
I'm gonna tell you
the reason
why.
why we didn't is because of the whole allegation thing.
Yeah, it was probably filmed and being like produced during
Same
that time.
thing with
so
Cody.
yeah, I feel like that's the big reason as to why, because it was during that time period when everything was going down. I'm assuming the Cody and Kurt one were done relatively the same time.
But man, with Vince McMahon, I kind of wish we had those interviews because they were very close.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I am happy with what we got though, because it was still
I'm still very happy with what I got.
Phenomenal.
This is just
it was a
like
5-star.
nitpicking.
Dude, that was a fucking 5-star documentary, honestly, along with the Cody documentary. Both of them were fucking phenomenal. WWE, man, like they've been shaky for a few years, but in the last couple of years, they've been really pulling out some great content in terms of, in-ring, in terms of their presentation, in terms of their documentaries, their originals. Like, it's been fucking a great couple of years, man, and I'm really stoked on it because I hope they do fucking more. Like, I really hope that eventually...
What a time to be a pro wrestling fan.
Like, dude, even fucking Christian was in the documentary a few times. Like, fucking Christian talking about Kurt Angle, and he's an active AEW fucking member right now.
Wait, no, Christian wasn't in there.
Yeah,
I know who
he
you're
was.
talking about.
Who?
Mark Henry and
no,
Jim
Christian
Ross.
was in it. Christian was in it because he went up. He was like, Kurt, you can say that you're okay all you want, man. And he was just like, he would straight up lie to you. He would say that it was Christian. Christian was in it.
Damn, why am I having like a
Yeah. Christian was in it, bro, for a couple times, and like he was on camera and it said Christian, former WWE superstar, and I was like, yeah, dude, like fucking Christian was in it, bro.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm
so like
I
even Christian,
very surprised
because they were talking about how he was like having his addiction, being like, oh yeah, I'm fine, and like even like Christian was like, yeah, he was your friend. He would just lie to your face, and it was getting to the point where he would just piss you off.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember now.
There you go. Yeah, Christian was in it, man. So the fact that they even had Christian in it, but like a lot of other faces were left out, really kind of bummed me out. But it didn't take away from my enjoyment.
No, like none of like the people that didn't appear, it didn't take away from my enjoyment at all. That's just me nitpicking.
I think I know why Christian was a part of it. He was also in TNA the same time Kurt was. So like there was also that history as well. So okay, never mind. Sorry.
But I will say this. I did love Jim Ross in this because of course he was head of, talent relations at the time.
Jim
so
fucking
I think
Ross.
That was very, very good, like way to put him in there.
Yeah, dude, Jim Ross again, a fucking AEW commentator.
Mark Henry, also Olympian.
Again,
so that worked out perfect.
Multiple AEW stars are in fucking this documentary. So I'm like, dude, there's a lot of people being left out, but these are also people that were really, really fucking close with Kurt. So, and I'm assuming like more on a personal level.
Yeah, no, of course, especially, through the years traveling the road and stuff.
But
now let's dive into, the downfall of Kurt Angle.
Oh, yeah, this one
the
was
sad
super
part, man. So in
sad,
2006,
yeah.
Kurt Angle, he was, battling addiction with
Between 03 and
painkillers.
2006.
Yep, 2003 to 2006, he was battling addiction, and it got worse, through time. And, in 2006, Vince McMahon gave him an ultimatum. You can go, to rehab and get help, or, you can't be here anymore. And Kurt Angle at the time,
He wasn't
didn't
ready.
face reality. He, didn't think he needed help. So he, walked away from WWE at the time and, joined TNA.
Yeah, and even Stone Cold was like, TNA's not on our fucking level, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, damn. And then fucking, yeah.
That was
to
my
be honest,
only con
Yeah.
about the documentary, I will say, because one thing I wish that they did, because I understand Kurt Angle, had some of his worst.
I saw you make eye contact with the fly that just passed by your face.
Motherfucker. Fuck you. That's the only thing I didn't really like about this documentary was how much, like Stone Cold, kind of took some shots at TNA. And I understand because Kurt Angle, towards, his run in TNA, those were some of the worst years that, he dealt with, substance abuse. And I kind of wish that they highlighted more of his, TNA run towards the end of his, run over there when he was sober, when he was clean.
I think they were trying not to promote TNA too much, which I can understand. It's a company thing, 100%.
Hold on,
They can make
the last clip that they show in this documentary was him doing a backflip off a TNA cage onto Mr. Anderson. That's
right. I forgot. But at the same time, like you don't want to give that too much publicity, and I can kind of get that. But at the same time, it would have been better. It would have been better to kind of highlight some of those moments, and I do understand where that is, a very big downfall because you've been following Kurt his entire career. So I can understand why, as a fan, you would want some of those memorable moments, but you'd also want to hear what was going on behind the scenes.
I know. I just don't like the little shots at, the promotions, man.
Listen,
like,
I can
know
understand.
AEW does it, WWE does it.
I can understand.
Impact did it, WWE does it. I understand it.
Buddy, you right now are showing trauma signs from how much Dan has bled toxicity into you in the whole wars, and you are tired from that. And I can understand why this is ailing you right now.
It's not just Danny, man. It's the whole wrestling community.
It is, but it's ignited even further.
Ben.
I know, but it gets mindless. But here's the thing: we work with the most mindless one of them all, and the fact that he's doing the shit to you and off camera and fucking in the group chat constantly—it's not good for your mental health, buddy. We need to get you some help. So talk to me.
But that's the thing, man. Like, I just don't understand the war, and I say it all the time on the podcast, so I'm not gonna, repeat myself here.
Buddy, you're good. I completely understand. It does get tiring, and
pro wrestling fans, they are mindless. And one of our co-hosts, he's very mindless. That's all I've been seeing this week is him on like wrestling Facebook groups and commenting the stupidest shit.
My God.
Dude, no, I even commented at
shit
him.
posting.
I even commented at him and I said on the NXT thing, like he was talking about how, oh my God, like this show sucks, this and that.
Then why are you fucking watching it?
And he had people laughing at his comment, and I commented to him and I said, dude, you're missing out, bro. Oh, man, I can't stand mindless fucking wrestling fans that aren't open-minded. That's why it's easier to do these with you.
Yeah,
I love Danny, but he's a pain in my ass. Now getting back into the
He's a little fucking know-it-all, that's why. But yeah, let's get back into Kurt Angle.
I just wish like they highlighted more of his good times in TNA because
100%.
He did wrestle longer over there than he did in WWE. And TNA, really did have a close place to his heart.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I gotta say too, like, with, his run, the photos, man, that they were showing during this downfall, real sad. Like seeing, Kurt Angle, with his daughter and then like having a beer, right next to him and stuff. Really sad to see.
It really was. And, that I feel like they kept it really classy during this downfall,
They did.
This whole downfall angle. No pun intended. And it really showed a human side of him because, like, I forgot who said it, but it was Jim Ross that said it. Addiction isn't a pro wrestling thing. It's an all of us thing. And Kurt, unfortunately, with the injuries that he's sustained, and he's had over 150 stitches in his head. He's had torn quads. He's had torn fucking. He's got knee replacements. He's dislocated his shoulder, broke his neck 5 fucking times basically. He was going through a lot of pain, and one Vicodin pill to make you feel good again, energetic and pain free. You would cling
One
onto that.
becomes too
Anybody
many.
would. Yeah, he was taking 65 a day at one point, and he made a schedule for when he needs his shipments for his fix, and he got them illegally because he needed them that fucking bad. And he was going from pharmacy to pharmacy to pharmacy to get all of them. And I'm like, dude, how he's not fucking dead right now is incredible. You can see the damage it's made on him, but the fact that he was able to eventually turn it around on behalf of his family, on behalf of himself, on behalf of his children, his wife, good on him, man. And that was the biggest fucking yes of all time, because the dude he's killing it today, man.
And that part in the interview where, Kurt Angle really opened up about how hard the addiction was, that really hit me because, of course, in my family, I've dealt, with addiction, like not myself, but, the people I love, a lot of them dealt
Yep.
with it. So it really, hit home. And I think Kurt Angle, is really sending a powerful message to a lot of people, that might be struggling, that might, watch this.
His
And,
sister did too.
it's, it's really sad, man.
And I feel awful because,
But it's also
addiction is
very
awful.
powerful at the same time.
It is. And but the thing is, though, it's so awful because it's like, his sister went through it and unfortunately succumbed through it and succumbed to it, and it just, that part really got me because it just, I've never dealt with loss in family great at all, especially on terms such as that. So it was a hard one to watch at the same time, which made it so powerful and which made it so compelling because it made it humanized and very highly relatable,
And it with documentaries, some of the best ones are, you're showing
Deep.
the highlights of, the athlete or, whoever you're watching. And then you get to watch them struggle. And then you get to watch them, get
Redeem
back
themselves.
up. And Kurt Angle, man, he went through it all. And just to see him, today is, grateful, man. Seriously.
100%, dude.
One of the greatest technicians in all of pro wrestling and, even amateur wrestling, man, one of the best. And he has a gold medal to prove it.
Yeah, dude. 100%.
But now, let's get into the final. Let's get into our, biggest takeaway from this. Because, of course, Kurt Angle, we really got to see, his entire life, his entire career. They really, highlighted it, and they did a fantastic job here.
They did.
So, man, what's your biggest takeaway from this?
From the biggest takeaway of the entire documentary?
Yes, sir.
If you work hard enough and if you want something bad enough, no matter what, you will always get it. And anything is possible. And Kurt Angle has definitely proved that. And you can fall a million times. You could fail. You could be the biggest piece of shit on the planet. But you can always come back and you're not too far gone. And that's something that I learned from this documentary 100%. And you can still persevere through it and still have people respect you. And you can still bring the respect back to your name, your legacy, and you can always make a better tomorrow.
I couldn't have said it better myself, man, honestly.
That
I
was
think that's the best way, to close this off.
Absolutely, man. It was a phenomenal documentary again, and it really put a lot of perspective and a lot of respect for Kurt Angle, for sure. And I couldn't be happier with how it turned out, and I, again, couldn't be more thankful for the insight.
And that's the thing, man, just, seeing the photos, of him before and, after, and, seeing him so happy with his family and, getting to be a great dad again. It's just beautiful to see because Kurt Angle, man, he's busted his ass his whole life. And I believe he said
Gone
this
through hell
in,
and
the
back.
documentary where, his whole life he was focusing on himself. And, for once in his life, his children, his wife, that's his number one priority now.
He put them first, and look what happened.
Exactly. And now, he's striving.
Absolutely, man.
And just even seeing Giovanna, seeing her, support for him and stuff, that was also beautiful to see because a lot of people that, are, with somebody that is, battling addiction,
It's not
It's
easy.
very hard for them, and it's not easy at all, especially having, more than one kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
he has
she
4.
really, stuck by him through it all. And, it's amazing to see like the outcome.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better.
But to all the We Are Wrestling maniacs, let us know down in the comment section below your thoughts on this documentary. We really want to hear your feedback because Ben and I, we really enjoyed this. I think that WWE, we need to get more of these. I'm hoping they're okay. We're ending it like this. Who's the next person you want WWE to make a documentary on?
Oh,
Have to,
son
man.
of a bitch.
Have to.
Yes, son of a bitch. Okay.
Before we actually close this
honestly, fuck, man. That's a really, really good question. You already got
they're
Cody
2
Rhodes.
for 2.
Fuck. Like, I have to be super
2023.
precise about this. If I would want them to make a documentary, so I'm gonna go with an honorable mention first. So I'm gonna say Edge.
That's fair.
But if I'm gonna say a straight up documentary on somebody who's like super established already, like is that like, are we looking at it like that? Like anybody? Okay. WWE roster, you said?
Yep, anybody, man. It could be a legend. It could be a Hall of Famer. It could be a former superstar. It could be, a current superstar.
One more honorable mention. I'm gonna say Bray Wyatt.
Of course.
With his family, JoJo, if they're obviously okay with it, they need some time to heal first, for sure. I'm gonna go with. I'm not gonna say Triple H because we're gonna get that eventually. Oh God, this is fucking hard, man, because there's so many. But who do I want first? That is like the big one. I'm gonna go with John Cena. I'm gonna go with John Cena. That's what
John
Cena, 100%. That,
but I do have another answer.
I'm also gonna go with Chris Jericho too.
That'd be a good one too, because I know WWE has done documentaries on both of these guys,
Mm-hmm.
but not like what Peacock's doing right now.
Peacock is fucking killing it.
So, here's who I want next for a documentary.
Oh shit!
Besides
Who
John
we got?
Cena, I would love WWE to do one on Brock Lesnar.
Ooh, that would be
Especially now
juicy.
that, WWE and, UFC are together now with, TKO and Endeavored. I think that, we can really get a very, deep documentary on Brock Lesnar's life and career.
Another one, Roman Reigns.
That would be a really good one.
Roman
But I kind of
Reigns,
want to wait
100.
until he decides to hang up the boots.
See, I wouldn't say
Because I feel
hang
like
up the
his
boots.
story,
I would say
there's
be
so
like
much more
part
to it.
time. Yeah, there is a lot more to it. Fuck you.
But Brock Lesnar, man, they have
Lesnar,
a great story right there, man.
Oh yeah, Lesnar.
Because he
absolutely.
also did the amateur wrestling.
Ooh,
and
Taker. Taker.
Oh man, if they do a
Especially
Taker one,
now,
dude, that's gonna be
Taker.
5 hours.
Hell, fuck it. I'll fucking watch the
I'll
whole
sit
goddamn
through
thing
5 hours of
nonstop.
that. I'd rather
Hell
watch
yeah,
that than the
nonstop.
Titanic.
Wouldn't we all?
All right, well, to all the We Are Wrestling maniacs out there, let us know in the comment section below now what, your thoughts on this, Kurt Angle documentary. But if you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just a 5-star review, but a best one review, and download the episode. And if you guys are watching this over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, if you enjoyed this, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. We got lots of awesome wrestling content over on the channel. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow Ben and I over on our social medias and other YouTube pages. All that down below. In addition, you want, wrestling news that comes out, you can go follow us over on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Or you want shorter clips of the podcast, TikTok, all the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.
We are Wrestling Extra!